So let me begin by a question. Have you ever started something with a lot of enthusiasm and zeal and you wanted to prove yourself, but then everything fizzled out? You just couldn't continue with it. And that often happens with a lot of us. In fact, all of us in some way or the other. So it's very difficult to maintain consistency. And if you look at people who are top performers, irrespective of whichever field they are in, the reason they're top performers is because they're able to deliver not just great performance, but consistently great performance. So that's the question that we're trying to answer today, is how do we ensure consistency in our performance? So let's try and understand that. I'm going to share with you 5 tips, which I believe will help you be consistent and also get better results out of the time that you have. Because normally we tend to procrastinate, we tend to push off things. We can avoid that by being more consistent. So here they are. Number 1, surround yourself with visual reminders. Now, what are visual reminders? Let's say, for example, if you are someone who like to read, but you just can't keep up with it. You read once and then for the next 1 week, you don't read at all. So what do you do about it? So the book that you want to read has to be very, very visible to you on a day-to-day basis. So for example, you should be able to see the book. The moment you see the book, it kind of becomes a visual reminder. The same is true for any task that you do. Simple tasks that you need to complete on an ongoing basis. One of my favorite things to do is to write down things on a smiley ball, and that smiley ball stays in front of you. So every time you look at the smiley ball, you've written down points that you need to actually do. So it becomes a visual reminder for you. So visual reminders are very, very powerful. For one reason, they're visual in nature. And the second thing is that they consistently remind you that you got to do something, that you got to work on something. So that helps you come back to track, come back in action and start doing things rather than just thinking about it. Okay. So number 1 is visual reminders. Number 2 is time boxing. What is time boxing? So let's say, for example, you like to go to the gym or you want to go to the gym, but you can't just make up your mind. Okay. So for example, you go once or twice in a week and then you say, forget it. I can't do this. Right. So a better way to do this is to ensure that you select a slot on a regular basis where you would like to go for gymming. For example, you could say that I'll go to gym from 7:30 to 8:15 in the morning. Or you could say I'll go to the gym at 6 o'clock in the evening. So you need to set aside a specific time for the task that you want to do consistently. This is called time boxing. So imagine time being put in a box. This particular box, which is of 1 hour or 45 minutes, is specifically devoted for the task that you want to do consistently. Now, the same holds true for anything. For example, going through important emails on a regular basis, or for that matter, going for a walk outside, or doing anything that you want to do. So you need to box time so that you come back to it at the same time every single day. And that helps you maintain great consistency. Number 3 is to reward progress. So I believe all of us believe in rewarding, incentivizing ourselves. So let's say, for example, you complete a task, you reward yourself with an ice cream or a chocolate or a movie or a web series, right? But I'm not talking only about that. I'm talking about rewarding progress. It's not just only when you complete a task that you need to reward yourself. Be slightly more generous with yourself. So every time you complete 10% of the task or 20% of the task that you had set out to achieve, I think it's time for you to treat yourself. What happens is when you reward yourself on a consistent basis, you're likely to be more consistent in completion of your task. So don't just reward completion of a milestone, rather look at rewarding yourself at each level of performance, which is progress. So anything that you consider progress, reward yourself by all means. That's a great way of incentivizing good behavior within yourself. Number 4, get a coach. Now, how does a coach help? Sometimes we need a push. Yeah, of course, if that push comes from inside of you, that's great. But not everyone is capable enough to do that. So sometimes you need an external push. And that is where the coach comes in very, very handy. So for example, if you can set aside 5 minutes or 10 minutes every day where you talk to your coach over a call or a virtual meet, then your coach will perhaps ask you questions about what progress have you made? Did you complete the tasks that you wanted to complete? Did you give enough time to what you wanted to devote yourself to? So these are questions which will help you reflect on your behavior. And if you haven't been able to do that, then perhaps you will also feel slightly guilty. Now, that's the reason a coach becomes very, very instrumental in the whole journey of being consistent. So set aside a time wherein you can talk to your coach and get help from your coach in terms of how you should be more consistent in the tasks that you want to perform. Sometimes the task could be uninteresting. Sometimes it could be utterly boring. Whatever the case might be, when you have a conversation with your coach, the coach becomes your go-to person. He or she will listen to you, be empathetic to you, and also share important recommendations and suggestions. So getting a coach is also an interesting but an effective way of being more consistent. And last but not the least, sleep well. Yes, you heard it right, sleep well. A lot of people try to cut down on the number of hours that they sleep. So I've heard many people say that I sleep only for 4 hours, I sleep only for 5 hours, and that's good enough for me. No, that's not really good enough for you, because we need quality sleep. So 7 to 8 hours is what is recommended for almost everyone. When you sleep well, your body rejuvenates, your body recovers from all the stress, all the physical tension that it has gone through in the previous day. And therefore, your body needs that time to recuperate. So give your body the rest that it thoroughly and richly deserves. So 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep time will mean that you're likely to be more productive, you can make better decisions, and of course, you will not put away things that are important, but you'll be more consistent with them. So these are the 5 simple things that we all can practice to be more consistent in our life. What are these? Once again, so the first thing that you need to do is to surround yourself with visual reminders. The more you see things, the more you're likely to do them. Number 2, time boxing. Set aside 1 hour, 45 minutes, 2 hours, whatever time is necessary for you to complete an important task on a routine basis, and then follow it religiously. Number 3, reward progress. Don't just reward yourself after completion of the task, but at each important milestone, incentivize yourself, be slightly more generous to yourself. Number 4, get a coach. Sometimes it's difficult for you to push yourself, or your willpower might fall short, and that's where a coach becomes really, really handy. And number 5, sleep well. Remember, your body is a machine, and like any other machine, it deserves rest. So the more you rest it, and the more you use it after rest, the more productive you'll be. And of course, more consistent as well. So practice these 5 things and do let me know how they work for you. And I'm sure if you practice these, your consistency levels will definitely go a few notches up. So try these, and I'll look forward to hearing from you about your success. Thank you so much for listening.